Pete, I wish I could go back and kick my 20 some odd year old self. I didn't really have any sales leader mentors in my younger days. And I guess to some degree, because I was also surrounded by a lot of, unethical managers and, managers that had only gotten their roles because of political reasons or whatever the case may be. In my 20s coming up, I was successful, and it helped me for a long, long time. But it also, I think, made me almost some of my earlier experiences in my career, maybe in my 20s and early 30s, maybe not as trustworthy. And so I kind of did keep to myself. I mean, I had managers that would try to, turn my team against me or steal practices or, do just unorthodox things to try to beat our team. And so I think I was almost pre-programmed to kind of lone wolf it. But what's amazing to me is I got laid off at what I thought at the time was like the peak of my career. I was very, very early 30s. And, what's amazing, I was a sales leader, but I was of the mindset where I was the guy. I was the hero. I was, jumping in, closing deals for my team and doing all the mistakes that a manager can do. Plus, I made a lot of foolish life decisions. Thank God I'm still here. But my point in saying all that, now that I can look back 20 years later, to be able to say and see where I thought was my peak, and to know now that I've turned into someone who I know I still have a lot to learn, and my greatest successes are through and with others. Realizing that and knowing, like, even that year that I thought I maxed out and was, while it took a while to rebound and get back to the place that I was from a stature and income perspective. I mean, last year I made 4 times what I made that peak year, right? So team selling is the way, not only for your pocketbook, but also for your career. As in, I've had the most success over the last few years because I've gone to other members and sellers who touch my market. And I've said, look, if I'm going to do really great things or set up conversations or go out and prospect and get executives to buy in to what you're doing, what conversations does your team want to be having? What is going to get your team paid? How do I make you a winner? And I incorporate that into my strategy. And I focus on my sphere, my customers, my leadership, all of the people that touch my market, my team. If all those people win, guess what? You win. And that's what I focused on obsessively over my last decade plus at Microsoft. And I got to tell you, it's just, I wish I had had that realization sooner.
We can go through life doing that, but the reality is you probably needed to go through some things to really get the lesson and really understand it completely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about your content and your books is do not shy away from the fact that you're a man of faith.
Yep.
And I love that about you. I love that about Happy Z's and Scott Vaughn in particular, Jeff Janakovo, who also has a great store in Lancaster, Pennsylvania called Gardner's Mattress and More. It's weird because we kind of live in a world that almost frowns upon it in broad strokes. And you could alienate some people, but I would say this: you're going to attract a lot of really good people to you that want to do business with you more than those few that you're going to alienate. And at the end of the day, you got to stand for something. And so thank you for standing up and saying what you believe in without being overly preachy about it. I think you strike a nice balance with it, but you do not back away from it one bit. And I love that about you. So if I needed something that you sold, I want to do business with you because you have backbone and you have integrity, and your integrity and your backbone is very appealing to me. But the part that I love about you the most is this little self-deprecation that you have, that you can kind of laugh at your younger self for being not the most perfect person in the world. And I laugh at myself when I was younger. I mean, I was so egotistical. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know how I got my head through the door. I mean, it was really bad at times. And, and people hear me say that and they go, no, you never were like that. I was like that. I needed to get checked. And I can assure you of this. If you need to be checked, the good Lord will check you, and
Amen.
he'll make sure that you know what you need to improve. Uh, Jeff Janakovo, one of my dear friends, Carson should check out C Suite for Christ. Absolutely. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff is special. He is one of our thought leaders in our industry. He runs a great retail store. He has multiple businesses. I don't know how he does it all. His wife has had like severe health problems in the last almost year that have would take most business owners out completely, but
Yeah.
because of the frameworks and because of the systems and the processes that he has put in place, his businesses have thrived in his absence, so he could be a husband and a father and do the things that he had to do. So one of the things that I love that you did in this book, you documented a process.
No
Like
doubt.
you literally, like, you gave your playbook away, dude. And I love that about, because what that says to me is go ahead. I dare you. I
Yeah.
know you won't do it anyway. And that's pretty much the way I feel about my competitors. You know what? I don't know if you ever read this book. It's an old book. It was written by a guy named Robert Ringer. And it was
Don't know it.
called Winning Through Intimidation.
Okay.
And it talks about the hare and the tortoise. And the tortoise is saying, slow enough. If you slow down enough, if you speed up to the right, I'll cut you off. If you speed up to the left, no matter what you do, I'm going to do more, and you can't outwork me. Is essentially the long and the short of that quote is you can't outwork me. You're not going to outwork me, and you're certainly not going to outsmart me. And so between working smarter, which I have to do, and working harder, which is just for some reason I must have been born on Saturday. Saturday's child works hard for a living. I don't know why, and it's not hard. Like, my job is the easiest job in the world. Do you know what I get paid to do? I help my friends make money, and I get paid for it. It's like being a hitman in the mob and never having to do a hit.
But
It's
that's a
crazy.
mindset, Pete. That's a mindset, and that's where it all really starts. I applaud you for looking at it that way. And Jeff, I want to say thank you for the recommendation, and prayers for you and your family. Hopefully everything is going okay with your wife. And thanks for being on today. You sound like an amazing leader, because that's frankly what it's all about, is having the people and the processes in place. I've been recruited to come into different places within my organization, within previous organizations, to do just that, to build a sales culture, to put processes in place. It's only through, frankly, experiences that, and frankly, mentors that I've worked with, that I've been remotely qualified to be able to do that. And Pete, you touched on a couple of other things that I wanted to touch on also. Being able to acknowledge the importance and the just the paramount fundamental presence of faith in my life. It's impossible to connect the dots forward, but when I look back and I connect the dots backward and I see where and why things happened, and how even when I felt completely alone, that I wasn't, that he was with me and he was the one pulling me, yanking me. Those types of things mean all the difference in the world to me. And it actually speaks to why I published my entire playbook. I'm very blessed and fortunate to have reached this point where I really don't have anything to prove. I've done everything I've set out to do, and that's brings freedom with it. I'm excited about where I am now and where it's going, and being able to continue to learn. Like, I feel like I'm just like squeezing the juices out of life, and I get to enjoy my family, and still now hopefully pay it forward and continue to train and coach and instill some of these fundamentals into the next generation at this company and others. So I've reached a point where, hey, here's what I've learned. Take it if you want. And to your point, Pete, it's kind of I dare my competitors to try to do some of these things because I don't think they will. I've trained a lot of people on how to do some of these things, and nobody picks it up because it's not always, the steps are relatively easy, but the commitment and the discipline that it takes and the resilience when you get knocked down or told no, or you lose a deal, or you lose a job. One year I won the biggest award in the company, and by the end of the week, my job ceased to exist, and I got moved into another role. I consider myself the Rocky Balboa of sales. I cannot be kept on the mat, and that is what has served me well.
I love that. And that there's several references to Rocky throughout the book. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was in high school when Rocky Balboa, when the very first movie came out. And like it got me. Like it got me really, really bad to the point where I never cried in front of anybody. And I cried in front of my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she asked me, like, after the movie, she said, well, thank you for trusting me enough to cry in front of me. Not very many guys would do that. And I said, well, I really didn't plan on it. And I was just overwhelmed. And she asked me a really good question. She said, what made you cry about the movie? And I said, that's my life.
Yeah.
It's my life. I don't stay down. I get back up. And when you see that, it's like, and you talk to people, like one of my favorite things to do in this world, Carson, I love talking to store owners about their origin story, like how their store started and what were their challenges. And it's all the same, Carson. Like it's different people, it's different faces, it's a different city and a different state, but there's like 6 to 8 different startup stories. And then it's just like duplication. It's just different faces, slightly different circumstances, but it all involves getting knocked down on the ground and people counting you out and getting your butt back up no matter what.
That's it.
And I love that about my job, that I get to meet these incredible people. And people say, when are you going to retire? I don't think I'm retiring. Bad news for my competitors. I think that they're going to bury me with an order in my hand. I hope my wife will take it out of my hand and get it to the factory so that you, Mr. and Mrs. Store Owner, get your delivery. But I'm perfectly fine going out with an order in my hand.
I love it. I love it, Pete.
So you